The millionaire's name was David. He was a man who had worked very hard all his life. From a young age, David dreamed of being successful. He wanted to give his family a better life than he had. Through many years of hard work and smart decisions, David became very rich. He owned several businesses, had a beautiful house, and lived in a nice neighborhood. But money was not everything to David. The most important thing in his life was his family. One day, David became a father. Not just of one child, but of twins, 2 babies born at the same time. It was a happy moment, but also a very challenging one. Taking care of 2 babies at once was not easy. David loved his children very much, but he quickly realized that he could not do everything alone. He needed help. David knew that taking care of newborn twins required a lot of attention and patience. The babies needed feeding many times a day, changing diapers, and comforting when they cried. Because of his busy work schedule, David could not be with the babies all the time. So, he decided to hire a nanny, someone trained and experienced. In looking after babies, finding the right nanny was not easy. David interviewed many women who said they had experience with twins or young children. Each one seemed perfect on paper. They had good recommendations, nice smiles, and friendly voices. But when they started working, things did not go well. The first nanny arrived full of confidence. She said she had cared for twins before and knew all the tricks. But the babies cried all the time when she was around. She could not calm them. David noticed the stress growing in her face. After a few weeks, she told David that the job was too difficult and left. David was disappointed but understood. Caring for twins was not easy. Next, another nanny came. She was more experienced and knew many ways to soothe babies. She tried rocking them, singing songs, and giving them warm baths. Still, the babies did not settle well. Sometimes they cried loudly for hours. The nanny also found it hard to manage the twins' different needs at the same time. She tried her best, but after a short time she also gave up. David felt sad. He wanted the best for his children, but did not know how to find it. After that, a few more nannies came and went. Each one seemed promising at first, but soon showed signs of struggle. They could not understand the twins' moods or make them happy. Sometimes the babies cried even more when the nannies were near. David's home felt tense. He worried about the babies and about his own ability to be a good father. The wealthy lifestyle did not make these problems easier. David talked to his close friends and family. They all gave advice. Some said to try harder and hire, even more qualified nannies. Others said maybe the twins needed special care, like a doctor or therapist. But David wanted someone who could be more than just a worker. He wanted a person who truly cared for the babies like family. One day, after another nanny left, David sat in his large living room, feeling tired and frustrated. He looked at the twins sleeping quietly in their cribs. They were so small and helpless. They depended on someone to love and protect them. David promised himself he would find the right person, no matter what it took. The house was big, with many rooms and beautiful furniture. But it felt empty and cold, without the laughter and smiles of happy children. David missed hearing the babies laugh and play. He wished for peace in the home and for the babies to feel safe and loved. David also felt lonely. His work kept him busy, and he did not have much time to spend with the babies. He missed his partner, the twins' mother, who had passed away before the babies were born. This made David's job even harder. He was now a single father, trying to do his best in a difficult situation. As days passed, David continued his search for help. He placed advertisements and talked to agencies. He was careful to check the background and experience of every nanny. He wanted to avoid mistakes. But with every new person who came, the same problems happened. The babies cried, the nannies became stressed, and soon left. David started to wonder if there was something special about his twins. Maybe they were harder to care for than other babies. Maybe they just needed more love and attention than anyone had given them so far. He thought about what kind of person could truly make a difference. One afternoon, David's assistant called him with news. She had found a maid who could start working in the house. This maid was not a nanny, but she could help with cleaning and small tasks around the home. David was not sure if a maid could help with the twins, but he was willing to try anything. Maid's name was Mary. She was a kind woman with a calm voice and a gentle smile. She came from a humble background and had experience caring for children in her own family. Mary was not trained as a professional nanny, but she had a natural way with kids. She knew how to be patient and loving. Mary arrived at the house on a bright Monday morning. She greeted David politely and then went to work. She cleaned the rooms, washed dishes, and organized the house. But she also watched the twins closely. She saw how they cried when nannies tried to care for them and how they seemed restless. Slowly, Mary started to spend more time near the babies. She did small things, softly talking to them, gently rocking them in her arms, and singing quiet songs. At first, the twins were unsure of her. They looked around and sometimes cried. But Mary did not rush. She stayed calm and patient. David noticed the change. He saw that Mary was not like the other nannies. She was different. She did not try to control the babies or get angry. Instead, she seemed to understand them. She waited for the right moments and learned what made them happy. After a few days, something surprising happened. The twins stopped crying so much. When Mary was around, they began to smile and reach out to her. The house felt warmer. David felt hope for the first time in many weeks. David watched Mary care for his children. He saw her kindness and the special bond she was building with the twins. It was not just a job to her, it was love. This made David feel grateful and relieved. Finally, he found someone who could help him care for his precious babies. Mary was not a nanny. She was hired as a maid to help with the housework. But soon, she became much more than that to David and his twins. From the first day, Mary showed a calm and caring nature. She had a way of making the house feel warmer and happier. Even though she was new to the family, she acted like she belonged there. Mary came from a small town, far away from the city where David lived. She had grown up in a close family where everyone helped each other. She had looked after younger brothers and sisters when she was a child. That experience gave her the patience and love she needed to care for children well. She believed that children needed more than just food and sleep. They needed kindness, attention, and gentle voices. When Mary first arrived, she was shy, but determined to do her best. She started by cleaning the rooms, washing clothes, and making sure the house was neat. But she could not stop watching the twins. She noticed how they sometimes cried without a clear reason. Sometimes they would be calm one moment and then suddenly upset. She knew babies were delicate and needed a special kind of care. Mary decided to try small things with the babies. She did not want to rush or scare them. She would sit near their cribs and softly sing songs she had learned as a child. Her voice was gentle and sweet. At first, the twins looked at her with wide eyes. They listened quietly, feeling safe with her nearby. Mary smiled and felt her heart fill with joy. Every day, Mary found new ways to help the babies feel better. She learned their little sounds and understood when they wanted attention. Sometimes, she would hold them close and gently rock them. She never forced them to do anything. Instead, she waited patiently for the right time to comfort them.
Ow.
Slowly, the babies began to trust her. David watched this quietly. He was amazed at how Mary could connect with his children. He had never seen anyone care for them with such warmth. The twins, who had been restless and unhappy with other nannies, now smiled when Mary entered the room. Their eyes would follow her, and they reached out their small hands to touch her. Mary's kindness was not just for the twins. She treated the whole house like a home. She talked softly to David when he was tired, offering encouraging words. She listened to his worries without judging. For the first time in many weeks, David felt less alone in his role as a father. Mary became a friend, someone he could trust. Mary also worked hard to learn more about caring for babies. She read books and asked questions. She wanted to be sure she was doing everything right. Sometimes she spoke with doctors or nurses when she had concerns. Her goal was to give the twins the best care possible. One day, David invited Mary to sit with him in the living room. He thanked her for all her help. "You are not just a maid," he said. "You're a part of this family now." Mary smiled. Feeling proud and happy, she had never expected to have such an important place in someone's life. Mary noticed that the twins were growing stronger. Their crying became less frequent, slept better, and seemed more comfortable. She made sure to follow a routine so the babies knew what to expect. This helped them feel safe. She sang lullabies every night and told little stories as they drifted to sleep. The house began to feel full of life. The sounds of babies laughing and cooing replaced the silence. David's friends who visited often commented on the change. They asked who was caring for the twins so well. David smiled and said it was Mary's gentle touch that made the difference. But life was not always easy for Mary. Sometimes she felt tired and worried. Caring for twins took a lot of energy. There were days when the babies cried for hours and nothing seemed to help. Mary would sit quietly, holding them close, telling herself to be patient. She believed that love was stronger than any problem. Mary also faced challenges outside the house. Some people did not understand why a maid was caring for such important children. They judged her because of her skin color and background. Mary heard whispers and saw doubtful looks. It hurt her, but she did not give up. She focused on her work and on the happiness of the twins. David noticed the way others treated Mary and felt angry. He knew she was the reason his children were happy again. He stood up for her and told his friends and staff that Mary was a treasure. "Her love and care are worth more than any title," he said. Slowly, people's opinions changed when they saw Mary's dedication. As the weeks turned into months, Mary and the twins formed a special bond. The babies began to recognize her face and voice. They would giggle when she played with them and reach out for her when they needed comfort. Mary felt like they were her own children, and she loved them deeply. David felt grateful every day. He was thankful that Mary had come into their lives. Without her, he did not know what would have happened to the twins. Mary was more than a helper. She was a guardian and a friend. David's heart was full of respect for her strength and kindness. Mary also helped David become a better father. She gave him advice on how to soothe the babies and how to spend quality time with them. David listened carefully and tried his best. Together, they created a home filled with love and laughter. One quiet evening, David watched Mary rocking one of the twins to sleep. The baby's eyes slowly closed, and a peaceful smile appeared. David realized that Mary had changed everything for his family. She had brought hope, joy, and warmth to their lives. From that moment on, David knew that Mary was not just a maid or a helper. She was a part of his family. The twins had found someone who cared for them in a way no one else could, and David had found a friend he could always count on. Mary's presence in the house grew stronger with each passing day. She did not just care for the twins. She became a part of their small world. The twins, who were once restless and difficult to calm, began to show signs of comfort and happiness. When Mary was near, her gentle voice, soft hands, and patient spirit worked like magic to soothe the babies. Mary understood that every child is different, and twins can be even more challenging because they have their own moods and needs. Took time to watch them carefully. She noticed small details, the way one twin liked to be rocked slowly, while the other preferred to be held close and sung too softly. She listened to their tiny cries and learned what they meant. Sometimes, a cry meant hunger. Other times, it meant the baby was tired or needed a diaper change. Mary's careful attention helped her respond quickly and with kindness. She created routines for the twins. Because babies feel safer when their days have a pattern, she made sure they were. Fed at regular times, had naps during the day, and enjoyed quiet moments with gentle play. Mary sang lullabies and told simple stories. She laughed with the babies and encouraged their first little movements, like stretching their hands or trying to sit up. David noticed the change too. The house felt more alive, filled with the sounds of happy babies instead of constant crying. He could see the difference Mary made. She had a special gift with children, a mix of calm strength and loving care that made the twins feel safe and loved. Even during busy days when David was working long hours, he felt peace knowing Mary was with the children. He trusted her completely. He saw how the twins smiled when she entered the room and how they reached out for her when they wanted comfort. This trust was new to David, who had been worried and stressed for so long. Mary's work was not easy. Caring for twins meant she was always on her feet, moving between the babies, making sure each one's needs were met. Sometimes the babies cried at the same time, and Mary had to find ways to calm them both. She remained patient and gentle, even when she felt tired or worried. Mary also learned to work closely with David. She shared simple advice on how he could connect with the twins during the time he spent with them. She encouraged him to hold the babies, talk to them softly, and be patient. David was grateful for Mary's guidance. He was learning how to be a better father every day as the twins grew stronger and more playful. Mary introduced small activities to help them develop. She showed them colorful toys and soft books. She clapped her hands and encouraged them to try to imitate her sounds. The babies' eyes brightened, and their smiles became more frequent. Mary felt proud and happy to see their progress. Outside the home, Mary faced challenges. Some people judged her because she was a maid and because of her skin color. They did not understand how someone like her could play such an important role in a wealthy family. Mary heard whispers and sometimes felt the sting of unfair opinions, but she did not let those judgments stop her. She kept working with love and dedication. David noticed the unfairness too. He saw how some staff members and visitors treated Mary differently. He stood up for her and told others to respect her for the person she was, not just her job title. Mary is part of this family, he said firmly. Her care and kindness have brought joy to my children. Slowly, others began to see the truth in his words. One day, a close friend of David's came to visit. He was surprised to see how happy the twins were and how calm the house felt. When David introduced Mary, the friend was impressed by her kindness and dedication. He told David that Mary had done an amazing job. The friendship between David and Mary grew stronger. They respected each other deeply and worked as a team for the sake of the twins. David trusted Mary's advice and appreciated her presence. Mary felt happy to be part of something so meaningful. Mary's heart was full of love for the twins. She thought of them as her own children, even though she was not their mother. She wanted to protect them, help them grow, and give them a life. Filled with warmth and happiness, the twins began to recognize Mary's face and voice. They would smile widely when she entered the room and reach out their tiny hands for her. Mary would pick them up, hold them close, and sing songs that made them feel safe.
Ow.
The babies were no longer scared or restless. They had found comfort. In Mary's care, David sometimes watched Mary quietly, feeling thankful for the woman who had changed everything. He thought about how difficult his life had been before Mary came into the picture. The twins had struggled, the nannies had failed, and he had felt helpless. Now, there was hope and peace in the home. Mary also helped David understand more about being a father. She encouraged him to spend time with the babies and to be patient with himself. David listened and tried his best. With Mary's support, he was becoming a better parent every day. The house was no longer just a place filled with expensive furniture. It was a home where love grew. The laughter of the twins filled the rooms. David felt a joy he had not known before. He knew that Mary had made this possible. One evening, after the twins were asleep, David thanked Mary quietly. "You've done more than anyone else could," he said softly. Mary smiled and said she was happy to help. She did not ask for praise. Her reward was the happiness of the children. Mary knew that the journey was not over. The twins still needed care and love every day. But she felt strong and ready to face the challenges. She believed that with kindness and patience, anything was possible. The story of Mary and the twins is one of hope and love. It shows how one person's gentle heart can change a family's life forever. Mary was not just a maid. She was a guardian angel to the twins and a true friend to David. Mary's presence in the house had become something very special, not just to David and the twins, but to many others around them. Yet, even though Mary was making such a big difference, not everyone outside the home was kind or understanding. Sometimes, she faced doubts and unfair opinions just because of who she was and where she came from. Some people whispered, that a maid could never truly care for Millionaire, his children as well as a trained nanny. Others looked at Mary with surprise or suspicion, questioning how she could be trusted with such an important role. These thoughts and words were hurtful, but Mary chose to ignore the negativity. She focused on her work and the happiness of the babies. For her, love and care were more important than the opinions of others. David saw all of this clearly. He knew that Mary was much more than just a helper. She was the reason his twins smiled and laughed again when he heard people say unfair things. He stood up for Mary. He told his friends and the staff that Mary's kindness and patience were priceless. "She has saved my family," he would say proudly. "Her heart is bigger than anyone I have ever met." The support David gave Mary helped change the minds of those around them. People who had doubted her began to see her true worth. They noticed how the twins responded to her care and how the house felt happier. Slowly, Mary's quiet strength won their respect. Even some of the other staff, who were once cold or distant toward Mary, began to treat her with kindness. They saw how hard she worked and how much the family trusted her. The walls of judgment and prejudice started to fall, replaced by understanding and friendship. Mary never wanted to cause trouble or argue with anyone. She believed that the best way to respond to doubt was through love and good work. She kept doing her best every day, showing that kindness could overcome even the hardest barriers. Inside the house, Mary's relationship with David grew deeper. They talked about many things: the challenges of raising twins, the importance of family, and the dreams they had for the future. David trusted Mary's advice and respected her wisdom. She was more than a maid. She was a partner in caring. For his children, Mary's humble attitude and warm smile made David feel hopeful. Even though life had not always been easy for her, she carried herself with dignity and grace. David admired her courage and the way she never gave up on the twins. Even when things were tough, sometimes Mary shared stories from her own life. She told David about her family and the lessons she had learned growing up. These stories showed David how strong Mary truly was. Despite hardships, she kept her heart open and her spirit kind. One day, David invited Mary to a family gathering. He wanted others to see how important she was to his children and to him. Mary was nervous, but also proud. She wore her best clothes and smiled softly. When the guests saw how the twins loved Mary and how much David trusted her, they were impressed. That evening, many people came to Mary and thanked her for her hard work. Some even asked her questions about how she cared for the twins. Mary answered with honesty and kindness. She did not brag or boast. She simply spoke from her heart. The experience showed Mary that people's minds could change when they saw the truth. It gave her courage to keep going and to believe in herself. She realized that her love for the twins was stronger than any doubt or prejudice. Back at home, twins continued to grow healthy and happy. Mary watched with joy as they learned new things, smiling, rolling over, and babbling. She encouraged them every step of the way, always patient and kind. David was proud to see his children thriving. He knew that Mary's care was a big part of their success. He felt grateful to have found someone who truly cared for his family. In his eyes, Mary was a blessing. The story of Mary and the Millionaire's twins is one about love, trust, and breaking down walls. It shows that sometimes the greatest gifts come from unexpected places. Mary's simple kindness changed not just the lives of the twins, but the hearts of those around her. Through hard work and gentle care, Mary proved that labels and backgrounds do not define a person's value. What matters most is the love and dedication we give to others. And in Mary's case, her love changed everything. David had never imagined that his life could change so much because of one person. Mary was no longer just a maid in his house. She was the heart of the family, the one who brought light and warmth where there had been stress and worry. The twins, who once cried so much, were now happy and healthy. And that was all because of her patient and loving care. As the months passed, David grew to see Mary as more than an employee. She was a trusted friend and partner in raising his children. Began to share more of his life with her, his hopes, his fears, and his dreams for the twins. Mary listened without judgment and always gave gentle advice, helping David become a better father. The twins loved Mary deeply. They reached for her whenever she was near, their tiny hands grabbing her clothes and their bright eyes searching for her smile. Mary returned their love in full, always careful to be there when they needed her most. Her touch was soft, her voice calm, her heart full of kindness. David often watched them from a distance, feeling a deep gratitude for Mary. She had changed everything for his family, and he wanted to make sure she knew how much she was valued. He began to include her in family events, giving her a place at the table and in his heart. Mary's presence also brought peace to David's busy life. Knowing that his twins were cared for with such love allowed him to focus on his work without constant worry. The house, once filled with tension and frustration, now felt like a true home. Laughter echoed in the halls, and the twins' joyful noises were a daily blessing. Outside the house, Mary's story became an inspiration to many. People heard how a maid had become the key to happiness for a wealthy family. Her kindness and dedication broke down barriers and showed others the power of love and care. Mary never sought the spotlight, but her actions spoke louder than words. David continued to protect and support Mary. When anyone questioned her role, he stood firm. "Mary is family," he said. "She is the reason my children smile." Words helped change opinions and opened hearts. Mary herself grew in confidence and strength. She knew that her background did not define her future. Through her love for the twins and her commitment to the family, she found a new life full of hope and happiness. She felt proud to be part of something so meaningful. As the twins grew older, Mary's role evolved too. She helped teach them new things: how to speak, how to explore the world safely, and how to be kind to others. Her influence shaped their early years and gave them a foundation of love and security. David often reflected on the journey they had taken. From the difficult early days when nannies failed to the arrival of Mary, who changed everything, his life had been transformed. He knew that true care comes from the heart. It's not from titles or money. The story of Mary and the Millionaire's twins is a beautiful reminder that family can be found in unexpected places. It teaches us that patience, kindness, and love are the greatest gifts we can give. Mary's gentle hands and loving heart created a bond that will last a lifetime. In the end, Mary was more than a maid. She was a guardian, a friend, and a hero to the twins and to David. Her story shows us all that sometimes the person who changes everything is not who we first expect, but someone who cares deeply and loves fully.